Welcome to the Art of Likability, ranked one of the top podcasts in the world. In this podcast, you'll discover how to leverage likability to build stronger relationships, lead more efficiently, close more sales, and keep customers happy while increasing success in your professional and personal life. Let's jump in with your host, Arel Moody.
What's going on, Art of Likability family? Arel Moody here, your host of the Art of Likability podcast, where we do cool things like share information with you that informs you, but hopefully transforms you. Oh, that was dope. I gotta say that more often. We inform to transform. Come on, tell me that's not a hot tagline. Should I add it? I just came up with, I wasn't even planning on that. It just came to my heart. The Art of Likability is giving you content to inform and transform. I think that's amazing. I don't even know if it's I might go online after this and Google it and be like, oh man, there's a bakery in Michigan that already has that tagline. I really thought I came up with it myself. And then, it's not as cool. But for now, I'm going with it. Art of Likability podcast, where we inform and transform. And sometimes we have really awesome guests on our show. Today, we have a really cool guest. It's my 2-year-old son. Davin, say hello.
Hello.
Say what's up to the people.
What's up, people?
Say you're awesome.
I am.
You said I'm awesome. Because I said say you're awesome and you said I'm awesome. That's kind of funny. Davin, do you want to say you're awesome. Say it again. I awesome. That's cool. So I'm traveling right now. I'm actually on a little workcation, doing some work, and decided to bring my family with me, which is fun. It's one of the benefits of, I think, entrepreneurship. You can kind of have a little control over your schedule. So I'm traveling. My family's with me. So we're going to have some fun. And I was like, man, I got to put out this episode. And my 2-year-old son was like, Daddy, I want to go with you. Say, I want to go with you, Daddy.
I want to go with you, Daddy.
That's exactly what he said. And I was like, all right, man, let's do an episode. So he's rolling with me. So this should be a lot of fun. Anything else you want to say before I keep going?
No.
Okay, so we'll just keep going. All right, man. So I want to talk about the importance of rolling with the punches.
Oh.
Yeah, very important. Sometimes in life, you're going to get punched in your stomach, right? Like you get punched metaphorically, right? Hopefully not physically, right? Like this guy right now, he's being silly, right? So I wanted to put out this episode, right? And then he goes, no, I want to be with you. And I go, man, I gotta get this work done, man.
Is that yours?
Yeah, that's mine.
Oh.
Yep, it's my microphone. Right? So I said, all right, well, let's just get it done. Let's roll with the punches. And I really want to talk about.
Where my bone?
Yeah, I'll give it to you right here. Right?
Oh.
So I said, all right, I want to do this, but I don't want him to get, he was getting cranky, he was getting upset.
Ow, 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 ow.
Right? You like being on the microphone? You like being in the pocket? There's like people in 170 countries listening to you right now. That's fun, right? That's a lot of fun, right?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna keep going, right? So he wanted to be on the podcast. I was like, all right, man, let's put him on the podcast. But you got to roll with the punches. Sometimes things don't go the way you want. It's interesting. I had this kind of anxiety rush flush through me when he started going, no, Daddy, don't leave. I was like, my man, I'm just gonna be like, it's just not gonna be that long. It's gonna be like 30 minutes. Let me go hit up this episode real quick while I'm on vacation. And he started freaking out. I said, you know what, man, roll with me. So he was here, roll with me. Sometimes you gotta roll with the punches. Some people might listen to this episode and they go, that baby was so distracting. I could barely hear anything. I don't like it. I don't like this podcast. I'm gonna give it a 1-star review, unsubscribe. And if I've ever seen anyone who looks like Arel Moody, possibly Shamar Moore, not that I'm saying I look like him, I'm saying other people have said it. But if I ever see someone who looked like him, I'm gonna kick him in his kneecap, make his knee bend the opposite direction. As he bends down to hurt his knee, I'm gonna knee him in the face. And as his head rises up in the air, I'm gonna elbow the back of his head. And as he falls down, I'm gonna put him into the Stone Cold Stunner all in one movement. # Jackie Chan movie. That's possible. Or you could have been like, yo, that was really cute, man. I appreciate you, bringing a little bit of your family onto the show. Like, that was really nice of you, right? Ultimately, you just got to roll with the punches. Like, you have to authentically be you. You have to authentically choose what you want to choose. And At times, life isn't going to go the way that you want. You got to roll with the punches. You plan for a big event. You've been planning for an event for months. 2 people show up. Roll with the punches. Make it the best event possible for those 2 people. By the way, a lot of people say the worst thing that could happen if you're planning an event is no one shows up. That is by far not the worst thing that can happen. The worst thing that can happen is like 5 people show up for an event you were hoping 500 people would show up for. That's the worst thing, I think. Because then you got to say things like, oh, there's a lot of other events going on right now. There's that farmer's market. There's that one stand with the fresh zucchinis. Very popular. So I think a lot of people said, oh, we'd totally be at your event, but we got to get our zucchini from the farmer's market. People come up with the most ridiculous excuses when they throw an event and it's not well attended. Like, you got to roll with the punches. Start thinking about it. What did we do wrong on the promotion side? What did we do wrong? You learn from it. Like, there's this misconception that like what happens right now will define you for the rest of your life. It's not the case. It's not going to define you for the rest of your life. How you respond to what happens to you is what defines you. And if you just hold on, the greatest gift of society right now, I think, is that people find you extremely interesting one moment, and then the next moment they could barely care unless you consistently do things to be interesting or controversial or whatever the case may be, right? So it's actually a gift, because if you mess up, take your punches, take your licks, it's going to feel bad, and you move on. And you roll with the punches. I want to tell you a personal story. This just happened to me. Not just happened to me, but it happened to me, right? So some of you may have heard this story, some of you may not. So I'm going to retell it. For those of you who haven't heard it, I'm going to tell it for the people who have, right? I had the opportunity to do a speaking engagement, right? And at a previous speaking engagement, I had a sign language interpreter. And I asked the interpreter, like, yo, give me some feedback. How do I make this better for you? She said, oh, it's totally fine. Then she said jokingly, just don't say the word penguin. And I was like, oh, okay. Why not? And she's like, oh, because it's kind of this, they have to do this maneuver where they put their hands at their sides and flatten out their hands and waddle back and forth to kind of look like a penguin. And it's just one of those funny words, and she said it, but it's funny, right? So I was like, oh, it's funny. So in my presentation, I said penguin. And she did that kind of maneuver, right? And she had a laugh about it. I had a laugh about it. So I was like, oh, this is something that's funny. I thought I had this funny little thing that I could bring out during my speaking engagements if I have a interpreter, sign language person, right? For our friends in the deaf community. And I had a speaking engagement, and it was like, I don't know, it was probably about 1,200 people in the room, right? It was a college freshman orientation, right? So it's 1,200 students, and there's an interpreter. And I go over, and of course I say, how can I help you, make the best experience? And she said, no, there's not much you could do. Just do your thing. We got it from here. So I was like, okay, great, And then I decided to do my little, penguin thing. And then everyone laughed. I laughed. I thought it was funny. And I moved on. And afterwards, I get this message on social media from a student, the student who was the deaf student. And in my presentation, I talked about this idea of taking, kind of a leap of faith and taking a jump and doing things you normally wouldn't do. And, the student was kind enough to tell me, hey, listen, going to this college was my leap of faith, because I normally have been in schools for the deaf my whole life. I actually was in a college for the School of Deaf, and I transferred to this. So this was my very first experience, like institutionally, like education-wise, being not in a deaf school. And on my very first day, you, in front of 1,200 of my classmates, made fun of me and my language. Now, as you can imagine, when I heard this, it was like someone took all of the wind out of me. I felt so horrible. Like when I read it, I was like, okay, let me put myself in her shoes. Her whole life, she's been, at schools of the deaf. She finally goes to a school of the hearing, and the very first day, someone is making fun of sign language. I expressed my extreme and very authentically, truthfully, sincere apology. I asked if there's anything I can do to, rectify it, and gave her my word that it would never happen again. And it won't. I won't. I mean, I get it. I won't use that as a medium to create jokes. And I was hurt. I mean, I was emotionally hurt that because I thought about how horrendous that might have been for that student, and how scary or challenging just going. And I'm supposed to be the guy that brings everyone together, and here I am creating this separation. And the student is extremely mature. I just know the student's going to go into, because one, the student was brave enough to message me. And then two, I expressed my apologies, he accepted and said, like, I really want to advocate for letting more people know about our community and helping others. And I think it's just going to go so many far places. And I was down. I was like emotionally down for like a while, right? Probably 2 days. Just like nothing could make me feel good because I was thinking about it. And then I said to myself, you know what, Arel? I got to roll with the punches. I made a mistake. It was a mistake of my head and not my heart, for sure. It wasn't my intent to make fun of, to hurt. It was my intent to build relationships, but I realized it was a mistake. And I learned from it. I now have grown. It's not something I'm going to do again, so I'm rolling with the punches. It happened, it makes me feel bad that it happened, but it happened. So I just got to roll with it now and know that it's something I did, own up to it, take full responsibility for what I've done, and then move on to the next phase. So my encouragement for you is roll with the punches a little bit more. If your kids are crying, have fun. Like if if you're a parent and your kids are throwing a tantrum, turn it into a dance party. Don't be so stressed out. Like I see so many parents, they're like, hey, why won't my kids behave perfectly like all the other kids on Instagram? Because those parents are only posting the absolute best pictures of their kids on Instagram. For every one Instagram-worthy photo a parent has, we have about 99 unworthwhile moments that we just don't take pictures of, right? It's like a 1:99 ratio when kids are small. So, we compare because we want it to be like that. You just roll to have fun. Since my kids flop on the floor like a fish out of water, I get down with them. I do a little worm. I don't know if that's the best thing to do, to be honest with you. I'm not a parenting expert. I'll bring a parenting expert on next time, right? But, eventually my kids, we learn to roll with it. I'm not so stressed out, so they're not so stressed out. We process our emotions. I let them feel their emotions. I never say stop feeling what you're feeling, but I have fun with it too. They start having fun. My kids starting to get a sense of humor, both of them. They're starting to have this incredible sense of humor. Like my 2-year-old the other day, I told me, Abe, it's so funny, right? I said, Abe, when you're done with your gum, because I gave him a stick of gum. I said, when you're done with your gum, spit it out. Don't swallow it, right? Because he wanted gum really badly and I was nervous about him swallowing it. So he goes, okay. So he goes, Daddy, I'm done. And he hands the gum to me, right? And I go, all right, cool. So I put my hand out and he goes, nope. And then he puts the gum back in his mouth. And I'm like, you're 2 years old. A little jokester. And he laughed at me. But I was like, yo, how cool is that? Like he's developing this great personality and just I roll with the punches. Like sometimes life is going to suck. It's going to throw a monkey wrench at you. Here's how you roll the punches. Here's some very specific ways to get it. Ask yourself, how can I grow from this? What did I learn from this? That's it. How can I grow? What did I learn? You'll find that when you do that, when you get there and you integrate the experience, you become better and better and better and more likable and more enjoyable, and you like life. Like the things that suck about life don't hurt as much because the more you integrate and grow and learn, the more you can truly be your authentic self. Because your authentic self has skills, and you get skills through life experience. So my encouragement to you is to roll with the punches. Something doesn't go your way. Someone breaks up with you. You lose a job. These things, like this isn't just small things. This is big things. You lose a relationship. You lose a, God forbid, a limb, or, something happens. What can I learn? How can I grow? And some of those situations you may say, Arel, those sound way more serious than, your little kid wanting to hang out with you when you had to get some work done on your vacation. They are, but the rules are still the same. I mean, there's incredible humans who have become paralyzed or paraplegic, and then they become incredible voices for the community and for growth and not letting things hold you back. So they grew from it. They learned from their experience. There was this guy I remember who got really drunk or was high or something like that, and he passed out in the snow and got his arms and legs frostbitten. And that was hard. Obviously, that's horrible. But now he goes around talking to people about, the importance of not drinking and doing drugs and using his life as an example to inspire others. I think that's great. There's a woman named Jessica Rasdale. If you haven't heard of her, she's an incredible human being, incredible speaker who has a extremely tragic backstory. She got drunk when she was in college and drove home with her best friend, and they lost control of the vehicle, and her best friend died. In essence, her killing her best friend because she was the one driving. She went to jail because of it. It's horrible. Horrible. Now she uses her story and her experience to help others get over bad times. She has a book called Shattered. It's a really great book. It's available on Amazon. It's called Shattered, where she talks about her strategies and implementations of how she dealt with the emotional pain and how she was able to get through it and get to the other side. And she's an incredible author and speaker now, a best-selling author. It's a best-selling book. She's an incredible human, right? So she took this really horrible thing. Going to jail while you're a college student, having your best friend die that you've known forever at your, that's difficult. But what she did, in essence, is rolled with the punches and said, I don't know why this was given to me by the Creator. I don't know why God put this in my arms. I don't know why this is what faith had for me, but it is. So I got to roll with it. So whether it's something as simple as, someone throwing a tantrum or someone looking at you not a way that you would like on, a meeting or something horrible, just roll with the punches. Just keep going. How do I grow? What did I learn? You'll find that things that may feel way, way difficult feel a little less difficult. The things that felt very heavy become a little lighter. You roll with it. But you got to implement it. Just like I say in the podcast, like I'm about to say right now, this information ain't going to help your life. I'm not here to just inform you. It's to transform you. But it starts with you taking action and growing. Start by rolling with the punches, okay? All right, so we're about to bounce up out of here. But before we go, Dab, you want to say goodbye to the people? Say goodbye?
Yeah.
Say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Say have a good day.
Goodbye.
Say roll with the punches. Roll with the
buttons.
say
I go to practice.
okay. Say subscribe to my daddy's podcast. Say leave a 5-star review. Say leave
leave
a 5-star review. I love you, man. All right, say you are awesome. No, okay, I'm gonna say it for it. All right, y'all. Send you a big ol' high five. You are awesome. Psh.
Thanks for listening. Make sure to subscribe to our podcast, The Art of Likability, and reach out with any questions you have. Until next time, remember, my friend, you are awesome.